Okay, hello. Sorry for that. I'm Lucas. Thanks to Mate and Andreas for letting me speak here and show my things. I come from Italy. I studied product design in Milan, and I worked there several years also in Milan. And after a while, I moved more towards graphic design and filmmaking, and I ended up in animation. So I lived for 7 years in Berlin, actually, and I moved a year ago to Helsinki, where I work as a director and animator, mostly in advertising and commercial work, and sometimes some free projects. I like to mix different medias and different techniques, and yeah, I like to build things. I like to do crafted stuff, and I start with the first project. So that's a short movie I did a few years back. It's called The Ostrich, and the music is done by David Kamp. I hope the audio works. Thank you. Thanks. So I did lots of stop motion animation in some previous work, and I got a bit. I saw it too much, and I did it too much, and it's such a. It takes so much time to do it, and it's such an effort. So I was trying to find a new way of animating and still have some crafted part in it. And I came across this kind of bird at some friend's place, and I got into this marionette and puppetry. And I found it's a nice way of animating, because it had this fragile and very analog movement. So I tried to put this. I tried to put this puppetry, which sometimes these puppets can look a bit odd, and I tried to put them in a very minimalistic and design way. So I built this bird, this ostrich, and I wanted to have this low polygon shapes, which you see often in 3D animation these days or in the past, and but I wanted to have it in an analog way. I wanted to see it. It seems clean. It seems polished, but it's not. So it has a little mistake in it, and I like these little parts that you can't control. So that makes something, I think, original. So yeah, here you see some work in progress. And I had 2 controllers, so one for the hand and one for the body and the legs. And in that way, it was quite easy to make some nice poses and move it around. So here you see more. This was the set, which was actually in the basement of the studio Dirty Media, based here in Berlin. And yeah, so they were so nice to let me do that in the cellar. And the set was very simple, actually. It had a very big softbox on the top, so I got very diffused shadows and a very clean line. And that made it very illustrative, and I wanted to have this product shot feeling. So the only part in stop motion was these pyramids coming out from the ground, and here you see the different phases of them. So yeah, now that's a commercial work I did for TUI, which is a German travel agency. The agency was Jungformat in Hamburg, and the client was TUI. And the Jungformat came up with the idea of having this app and this platform where you could save your weather status every day. And after a month, it calculated the average of your weather status, and the person with the worst weather won a trip to the Dominican Republic. So they wanted a spot to show this character going through different weathers. So yeah, thanks. So here you see a bit of the character design. So in the beginning, that's the logo of TUI. So it has already this little smile with the eye there. So I thought that's quite nice, maybe to use for the face and bring this thing like just this little red line with the 2 dots. But they didn't like it as it was a distortion of their logo. So we went for a small process of character design and we came up with this last tooth there. So then around this character, I created also this very illustrative and graphic world to have like just one language going through, and in that way you can mix the media better. Because what I wanted to do is to create these different layers, and maybe like in After Effects you put them into the 3D space and you move them around and you have this classical animation style. So I wanted to do that, but do it in analog. So I wanted to build the layers and I want to animate it all live in camera, and after put in the character there. So here you see I cut out all the letters, and this was the snow falling from the top. And here you see the set, very, very simple. And yeah, so it's not a fancy set. It's just like there's like a muesli or biscuit box being the house, and it's very, very simple. So the perspective is a bit more exaggerated, so you get a bit more of depth. And yeah, and here you see a bit more like, for example, these waves, they are hanging on this fisher rope, and then they're moving and in different phases, and so you get this little sea animated. And I really like these little details and these little tricks. So there's also a short making of it. 3, 2, 1, runter, ab und aus. and teach. Vielleicht? Okay. Achtung. Und yeah. Okay, thanks. So this is Robert there, Robert Löbel. Thank you for helping out. And yeah, so it looked funny and small, but I always like that you put a nice lighting, a soft light, and in the camera it starts to look fancy or like proper. But outside it looks like this. And we had this animatic going because we had the timing, so we had the countdown like 3, 2, 1 wind and 3, 2, 1 snow, and we tried to follow this animatic going parallel, but it was really hard to keep up with the speed, and so we did it very, very often, but in the end we managed to do one that actually worked out. So the next project was done actually at Seesucht Berlin here. It was for O2, Think Big, which was a campaign where people can send in ideas how they could improve their neighborhood, and then O2 would select some project they like, and they give money to bring this project to life. So the agency was VCCP. And yeah, let's have a look.
Think big for a moment. How could you improve life in your neighborhood with a new basketball net, a breakdance workshop, an environmental project, an anti-racism poster campaign, or a completely different idea to bring positive change to your neighborhood? You know best what your neighborhood needs. This is Think Big. Here, you and your friends can make your ideas really big. And we support your idea with 400 euros. Register now. It only takes 10 seconds. Within a few days, a Think Big project manager from your district will be in touch to help you with the planning. Upload videos and photos onto your very own Think Big project website. Give it everything you've got, and you're in with a great chance to develop your project further in professional workshops. So, what's your project? Think big. Your neighborhood. Your idea.
Yeah, so it's fine. Thank you. So that was the briefing and the mood of VCCP, the agency, and so they said they wanted something with like not stop motion. So I quite like that, and they wanted still something crafted, and so they had this idea of this cutout types that come in and go out, and it was quite funny because in the mood there was actually the weather spot as well. So I felt actually quite honored about it. But I wanted to go further and not using just the types coming in and out, because I thought it's a bit, it's quite a long movie, so it would be quite boring after a while. And I wanted to find always different objects and some simple ideas to go with the voiceover, and put in some other layer and bring in some metaphors. So like the bricks here that are the buildings and your neighborhood, and with these little details of the cars they become, and yeah, different elements. So I wanted to keep it also very, very clean and subtle, and again, these soft shadows, and like a product shot, which you maybe know from advertising of a product. So I wanted to have always this, like for example here, this growing project. So you see this plant growing with the liquid. What we actually keyed out was that the tube went more on, and the assistant was actually sucking this green liquid into his mouth and into a pot, because it didn't have enough pressure to go the whole way up of the flower. So here's some storyboards how we presented it. And yeah, this was then the cellar, the basement, the studio at Seesucht. This is Philip, the assistant, and that's how we worked on it. So this was the final shot where we threw all these different balls and skateboards and keyboards and everything is falling in. And this is the idea with the friends around. So I have there also a little making of.
Ja, till kvälls alla på nu lurar vi in med bensinbrorsa och åkslinje. Vi är väldigt bägen med sig som Zanotto och stiger med knästunning. Ett till jag hejda 1000 kilowatt att kunna tala med verkligt. Men tacken för alla till Kanada och andra nå. Alla är en så färsig.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So this is a project I did now in November, December, and it was a very, very nice project which I really enjoyed working on, and it came from the Center of Science for Public Interest, some kind of health institute in the US, and the agency was the Butler Bros, and so I got this email saying that they would like to work with me and they would have this project and if I would like to have a Skype conference on it, and then they explained me this very nice project which was a big like a campaign against the consumption of sugar sodas. So it was the script they had was very, very nice, and then they also told me that Alex Bogowski was involved in it as the creative director, which is quite a big name. So I was really eager to do it. So this is just a cut down. It's a short movie, about 4 minutes. And if you want to watch the whole movie, you can see it on my site. But now you see the short version here. Yeah. So not to mention names, but of course it was mostly against Coca-Cola, and it was such a nice idea to use. That's why I like the script so much, to use these polar bears, which is on one hand I thought an icon for the global warming and like a very fragile creature which we have to look after actually. And on the other side, it's also the icon for Coke. So it was just this very, very, very nice idea which I was impressed by. So it was like we know these bears from this high-end CGI 3D computer animation, so they wanted to have also in that way the opposite about it, so a very crafted and minimalistic approach. So this is another project. I just jump fastly back to say that I'm not a 3D. I'm not good at 3D. I'm not a 3D guy. I just started to playing around on this project I did for an Italian children TV channel, and I just started playing around with Cinema 4D, and I started creating this landscape with these little blocks, and it was actually quite nice to play with it, and it was also so quite easy in a way that it was the same process as building it out of paper or building a set, but you just build it in 3D. So I wanted to see that actually as the analog part, which is quite weird, but it is. I saw that as the landscape analog part, and I wanted to put in the characters again in the same method I used before, maybe with some live elements. So coming back to the bears, they also quite liked that approach, and they wanted something in that direction. So in the beginning, we even thought of building the set out of white papers and shades, but then we decided to go for the 3D low polygon version, as it gave us more control about the sets and the scenes and the dimensions and everything. So so that was the first sketches of the ice bears. You see the different stages, like they become always fatter and fatter, and in the beginning I always wanted to have the coke or the liquids to be these neon colors, to be this poison, this contrast to these white and clean landscapes, and you have these colored liquids in it, and then there you see also the whole family. So these were the first style frames which I sent there. There the bears had still like a shadow actually, but it became after just a completely white solid form shape. So it was a lot about against the light and having these lens flares and this nice atmosphere. So some storyboards. And what I was also very impressed by was that the workflow we had, because there worked more or less 8 or 10 people on it, and they were all in different places. So mostly of them, they were in San Francisco or in Texas or somewhere, and I was sitting in Helsinki. So it was quite funny to have this video conference. We had it like once or twice a week, and we had this moderator which always put the person speaking on big screen, and it turned out to be very productive, and I was very impressed by it, that you can actually start to knowing other people and their process just by video chatting, and it worked out very well. The only negative point was the time change, as they were all in the morning and they looked all fresh and with their latte macchiatos or whatever, and I was already at 9 o'clock in dark Helsinki in this room and looking like a nerd probably. So yeah, but otherwise it was very nice. It was also very kind of personal. You started knowing these other persons, because Bonis was becoming a father, and so you had this chat. So it was quite weird somehow. So now that's a spot I did for HarperCollins publishers in the UK. The music was done by Cassian Troya.
As an author, you've probably imagined what the perfect publishing house would look like. As publishers, we have too. We think it should be obsessed with stories, not product. We're not making shampoo here. Creative, not in an annoying, funny glasses, skinny jeans way, in an ambitious, focused, making good stuff happen every day way. Brave, because steering the bandwagon is always more fun than jumping on it. Quick, waiting is boring. And rubbish. Effective, you have to know which button to push these days. Transparent, you know what we know when we know it, good or bad. In love with readers, obviously. And most importantly, behind our authors every step of the way, working as cheerleaders, advisors, sounding boards, and problem solvers. We're happy to say we've always been good at getting stories into the hands of those who love them. But we're always looking to improve, refine and innovate. We know we're not perfect, but we're working hard to get there. And we'd like to work with you to do it. Make your story a HarperCollins story.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot to mention before that at the Real Bears, the music and sound design was done by Nikolai von Salwitz, which is based in Hamburg, a very talented composer. So yeah, they had this script with these different words going through their explanation how they can help authors to publish them. So I wanted to. I found this letterpress set on eBay, and I wanted to put that in every frame when it explains the word, and let's happen the rest around the book. The only problem I realized after is that these letters are actually mirrored for the pressing, so I had to rethink the whole set, also mirrored again, that I could put it back after. So, for example, there you see this story text, so I had to reprint them and mirror them, and I just had to rethink the whole, like the hand comes in from the right, but I had to say it comes in, like think about it, it comes in from the left, and so on. And then also things happened, like I positioned this and then I film it, and finally I got the shot that I was like, oh, that was good, and I put it there and I flip it, and I realized, oh my god, I put the double S in the wrong place actually for the obsessed. And so yeah, it was a bit difficult. So I fixed it in post. Yeah, especially because some bubbles were passing exactly in front of the letters. So this is like the final scene, for example. Like so, I like this little. I try always to find the most simple version to show something, that the simplest way I can explain the voiceover what it is saying. So this is like we work hard together. So to close the book basically. So you have these two strings pulling together and to finalize the project. So because I like to invest more now in the process before and think about a simple solution and put more effort in it than actually by realizing it. I want to have the shot like very simple. I build it, I film it, and it's done. And trying to avoid trying to avoid a big post-production after, like so that I don't have to put keyframes and lots of masking out. So I like to do all in camera and save time in that way. So this project now, it's an app actually we launched last week. It's called Dronimal. The sound design and the music was done by Ulrich Treuer, and the programming was done by Nils Hoffmann. So I just show now a little promo video for it, and then we can speak about it.
A. A for alligator. Dronimal, available on the App Store.
Yeah. Thank you. So the idea was to you put your phone or your iPod on a piece of paper and you draw around it actually, and after you get it shows you how you have to draw the lines, and after you get out the animal, and it's always a little animation. So it brings the kids to learn the alphabet, they start learning about how to draw simple lines for animals, and they also start thinking out of the box, which I quite like. That you're not fixed on the screen. You go outside. You draw around it. You can start to put flowers there or a mountain, and I think it's just inspiring in that way. So I got inspired by this Japanese book I bought in at Muji, and it is also like an alphabet book, and for every letter you have this page, and you can take out the letter and fold it into the animal, like origami way. And so I really wanted to bring something like this to a digital device, and I got very inspired. And so after it came very quick, this idea, why not the simplest physical interaction and just drawing around it on a piece of paper or whatever you can draw on. So this is the cat, the rabbit, the elephant, penguin. So here you see some sketches. So I started to draw a lot of squares and trying to make out of the squares these different animals, and it was quite fun, actually. And there you also see so we had in English the first round of animals, and then we wanted to do it also in Spanish and in German and in French. So we had to find a way to move the animals around that we don't have to add too many other animals. So we ended up that we find a clever way to have 32 animals to cover the whole 4 languages. So my daughter also started drawing with me on the side, always lots of square animals, and she got quite good at it, actually. So yeah, thank you a lot.